of music education at this university for more than 25 years has been taken away from us. For decades, large ensembles at UBC Music have rehearsed on the stage of the Chan Chun Concert Hall. That stage has never been just a performance venue for us, but more of a classroom. It is where orchestras and bands learn how to listen across the ensemble, where musicians learn to balance, blend, and project their sounds, and where conductors learn how to shape sound in a professional acoustic environment. In other words, it is where UBC music students learn how to become professional musicians. And yet this year, that classroom has been taken away from us. Large ensemble rehearsals were moved out of the Chan Chun Concert Hall and forced into the Telestudio Theater, which is a space that was never designed to hold orchestras of this size. Let me be clear about what that means in practice. Musicians are packed tightly in a room that was not built for 80+ people playing at full volume. Students struggle to hear across the orchestra, and rehearsals that should be about musical growth become an exercise in simply surviving the room. Many of us leave rehearsals with headaches, some leave with ringing ears, and the UBC administration expects us to accept that as normal. We refuse to accept that and refuse to accept a lower standard of music education here at UBC. We refuse to accept that a supposedly world-class music program should rehearse its orchestras in a space that compromises both learning and physical comfort. And we refuse to accept that this decision was made without meaningful consultation with the students whose education is being affected. UBC has failed us. UBC has failed the broader music community of Vancouver. Over 15 years, over 1,500 people have already signed the petition calling for rehearsals to be restored to the Chan Chun Concert Halls. Students, alumni, faculty members, and members of the wider music community have spoken clearly. If you have not signed the petition yet, it is on the back of our pamphlets that you can find at the booth over there. They understand that something that the administration seemed to have forgotten. The Chan Center exists because music students need access to a real concert hall as part of their training. It was built with students in mind. So the question we have to ask is very simple. How did we reach a point where the hall that was built to support our education is now the one space we are told we cannot use? We are not here today because we enjoy protesting. We are here because we are left with no other option. Students have raised concerns, asked questions, and tried to have conversations. And when those concerns were ignored, we came here to make sure our voices cannot be ignored any longer. This is a peaceful demonstration, but peaceful does not mean quiet, and us music students know how to be loud. Today, we are demanding that the university listen to its students. We are demanding that the Chan Center and the UBC administration work with the School of Music to restore large ensembles rehearsals to the Chan Chun Concert Hall. And we are demanding that students be included in the decisions that directly affect the quality of our education. Music is built on listening, whether it's listening across the ensemble or listening to the people around you. Right now, UBC has not been listening, but today, UBC will hear us. They will hear the students who rehearse on campus every day, the alumni who built this program, and a community that believes music students deserve better. Thank you so much for your time, and to everyone who came out today. We'll now have Millen and Reed speak while we make a stage transition to our community sight reading session. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Millen Sandhu. I am a third-year undergraduate student here studying opera at the UBC Opera Ensemble. Thank you, Saya, for that amazing speech. She is a great president and has led us through this program. So let's give a hand for Saya once again. Now, after being at UBC for 3 years, when I look back at the education that I have received, it makes me proud to say that I chose the UBC School of Music. But when I think beyond that, when I was in grade 12, remembering all the emotions involved with making the decisions that led to choosing to study music. For some, it may have been a very simple choice, but for others, and like myself at the time, there was a lot of uncertainty. For a young student, only 17 or 18 years old, to choose to dedicate their lives to their passion for the arts, that choice does not come lightly. But when we do this, we trust that the education we will receive will ensure us success alongside the hard work that is required. We all knew that UBC was one of the best schools for music, and we knew that we would have a chance to perform in one of the greatest concert halls in North America, that is the Chan Center. These constraints on our rehearsals affect us students directly. They don't just affect the orchestra and the bands, but also the UBC choirs and the UBC opera ensemble. Now that these changes are being made, I go back to before I came to UBC, thinking that at the time I'd be able to perform at the Chan Center. Luckily, I had a chance in my first few years, but the future generations will not. As fellow users of the Chan Center, it is crucial to our education and safety that we speak up. It is a hindrance for our education to be barred access to rehearsals prior to performances on the Chan Center stage. It is also hazardous to our professional safety to be put into spaces that were not meant for ensembles of our sizes. This has already been happening to ensembles in the School of Music and will persist if nothing is done. It is also harmful to the singers' voices, who have a chance to perform in the Chan Center, but now will only have access to the hall for dress rehearsals mere hours before performances. To have the chance to perform in the Chan Center, the world-class performing hall that it is something we were all looking forward to when accepting our offers to the University of British Columbia to study voice and opera, but also to study music. Restrictions to the Chan Center stage have already affected our opportunity to perform when opera each year, and in the Chan Center, it will only continue to take away opportunities to enrich our learning. I doubt that restricting our usage and disrupting our education was the intention of the Chan family who powered and funded the construction of this performance hall. The Chan Endowment Fund was created specifically to support performers who lack the resources to access that stage. Restricting our access and usage doesn't just disrupt our education, but it contradicts the very philanthropic spirit that built those walls. Now, as some of you may have heard and been in attendance at, our friends in the orchestra had their concert this past Friday, March the 6th. What most of you do not know is that they were not able to rehearse in either the Telus Theatre or the Chan Center theatres for their final dress rehearsal on Thursday of last week, because the Chan Center has put student performances at the bottom of their priority. Now, consequently, they were forced to split the orchestra into multiple groups, rehearsing in separate spaces. This fight is not only for us, but every current and future student that chooses to study at the UBC School of Music. Our voices are powerful, but this power only projects further when all groups of our great School of Music unite. That is, voice and opera, and the instruments, and the academics. If we all come together, we will be heard. With our voices and our colleagues' instruments, we are able to shed light on these issues in hopes to find a resolution for the benefit of all current and future students. I implore you all to stand with us as one, to allow for the students of the UBC School of Music to be heard by the UBC administration, who for months have turned us away or ignored us. Our education matters. We may not be science students, but for us musicians, the theater, the performance hall, and the rehearsal spaces, these are our laboratories. And without them, how can we learn to grow, just as our colleagues in other faculties across UBC are able to? Without them, we do not expect chemistry students to have laboratories and have their labs in cafeteria spaces. As such, an orchestra cannot rehearse in spaces that do not fit their needs. To the students of the UBC School of Music, current and future, let me remind you that if no one says anything, nothing will change. This is our moment to say something, not to let hope dwindle, but rather the opposite. UBC's Point Grey campus was built due to a student protest just over 100 years ago in what was called the Great Truck. They did not wait for permission, but instead, they marched when their education was at stake. Let us take inspiration from the past as we stand here today, standing up and making noise for our education. Once again. And to the UBC administration, our education and safety is not something that should be placed last in a list of priorities. The Chan Center is our classroom, our laboratory, and for over 20 years, our home. We stand here today to ensure that it stays that way, not just for us, but for every student who will choose UBC and the UBC School of Music for the next 100 years to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Incredible to hear other people's perspectives here. Hi everyone, my name is Reed Contreras-Wolfley and I'm a first-year master's student. I've been here for 6 months and I feel I need to acknowledge that I probably don't have the personal experiences that all of you do, but it's amazing that in the short time I've been here, your words have resonated so strongly that I'm willing to hold a mic and stand in front of a bunch of people here today. So I really appreciate you for motivating me. For those of you that know what this event represents, I hope our efforts bring you some solace. And for those learning about this now, we immensely appreciate your willingness to listen to us today. The UBC music students have felt under siege for months. The fact that we, the students, feel the need to advocate for our own university experience is truthfully unjust. We're being subjected to undue bureaucracy that ultimately takes away from our potential to grow and focus on developing our artistic practice, the reasons that we came here. There have been continual provincial budget cuts towards universities across British Columbia, and the recent Canadian federal budget release that introduces a reduction to the number of international students being accepted across Canada. Like many universities, UBC has become over-reliant on international student revenue to supplement and support operating budgets. As a result, when cuts need to be made to stay in the black, the removal of the Chan Center main stage as a rehearsal space for students is an example of the consequences that can follow. From a financial standpoint, I can understand where the decision comes from to prioritize reserving the Chan Center for external events and to limit the expense of hosting the UBC ensembles on the main stage. But all businesses come with expenses, and in taking this course of action, it suggests to the students that the Chan Center management does not value or prioritize UBC music students' education as a necessary expense. As students, it's most frightening when people at the highest points of administration can so easily make decisions that have a lasting impact on those they represent and not provide reasoning. More importantly, today I'm also speaking on behalf of students who have shared their frustrating and unjust experiences with the Chan Center employees that have surfaced because of this new form of rehearsal operation. As this change of rehearsal space has been implemented, there have been constant, unexpected alterations to schedules and logistics that have been met with a lack of any understanding or accommodation from select Chan Center employees. In these instances, said Chan Center employees have felt this is an opportunity for admissible reason to attack students with forms of profane verbal harassment and blatant disrespect. I ask these select Chan Center employees to reflect on their comfort to disregard others so quickly. We are also figuring out this new setting and this new relationship. Now, the Chan Center is not inherently a place of discourse for us. As we've heard, it's a place of transformative musical quality for a lot of people here. The reason these students are fighting so hard for the space is because they know how rewarding the experience of rehearsing and performing in it ultimately is. There was a time where ensembles, both large and small, could rehearse in this setting, and knowing these students, they not only want that for themselves, but for all the students that will one day sit behind the stands after them. There are a lot of questions as to why this change has happened, and unfortunately, a prevalent lack of transparency from those making the decisions for us. With this current state of affairs as students, I ask that we stay informed, continue to demand clarity, and actively participate in understanding how these systems work. Universities should stand for exploration and self-improvement, and by understanding these systems, we can do it better. Thank you.
Thank you, Reed and Willem, for those amazing speeches. We are now, I think, almost ready for our community sight reading. So if you have an instrument that is in a case, please take it out and we can all play it together. We're going to play Jupiter and Ode to Joy, and we're going to have singers singing Ode to Joy with us. It's going to be a really fun time. We put out some stands with some music, so it should be pretty obvious where you should be. It has, I think most of the stands have signs of what instrument should be where, so that you don't get confused. Yes, if you play a low instrument on that side, if you play a high instrument on that side. Great. Sam here is going to be conducting. And I think we're just about ready, so we're going to give maybe a couple minutes. We're going to start at 12:30.